Sitting by the radio, only static in my ear. Wondering if the bands will bring the voice so clear. If a signal breaks on through, it will spark a Ragchew, fresh and new. Static fades and hopes arise. Silent air now fills with cries, waiting for that perfect sound when a contact will be found. Bands go up and bands go down. Sometimes smile, sometimes frown. When the bands are open wide, when I hear a voice inside, it makes my heart start racing true. When I start a brand new Ragchew.
Everyone will be happy to know that I cut that song short. You're welcome. Let's get Dawn in here. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Night Ragchew. Is Dawn still frozen?
Looks like I'm still frozen, I think.
Yeah, you are. Let's see.
Should I go out and reboot my computer?
Are you just going straight to webcam, or are you using something like OBS or
Nope, just webcam.
straight to webcam? Yeah, maybe have to reboot it. We'll wait
All
for
right.
you, Don.
I'll be
We'll wait
back.
for you. We got
I'll be back.
plenty of preliminary things going.
All right. All right. Good night, everyone. Or good evening, everyone.
night.
Good night. Good afternoon. Good evening, and good night. We want to welcome a couple hams from the Long Island CW Club. Don, who's just going to reboot real quick, and Scott. They have just offered their time to come talk to us about the Long Island CW Club, CW, Morse Code, whatever you want to call it, however you understand it. And they're going to answer whatever questions come into the chat. So that's what we're going to look for tonight too, is a lot of questions. So we ask you to think of some questions that you have interest in, or whatever you might be thinking about CW or Morse Code, or why it's called CW or Morse Code, or whatever. A45, welcome. So Scott, welcome.
Well, thank you. Good to be here. How's my audio? Okay.
Your audio is great. Scott has the largest straight key ever made behind him. It is mural sized, hanging on his wall.
That's right. Yeah, it would it'd probably fit these big hands, but yeah, that's a J, what they call a J37 or a J38 straight key, and those keys, a little bit of history. Those came from World War II. The J37 model was used for training, and then they numbered a J38, which was actually used for on air. So there's really no difference between the two. Only one is made for training and made by multiple different suppliers worldwide during the war. And then J38 was used for the actual on-air transmissions. So
you
very
believe
common.
that is this one
There
right
are
here?
million of those going around. Yeah.
So
There's-
very cool. I picked
Yeah.
that. Sorry, I picked this up at an auction, at a club auction. So
That's a great starter key for somebody who wants to just get into Morse code and CW, as we call it. But it's a very inexpensive way to get started. You can pick up one of those secondhand on the web or eBay or whatever for usually less than $30, and you can be on the air sending Morse code, very cheap.
I think.
I'll bring him in.
Okay, I got him. There you go. We got you, Don. So we'd like to
back.
welcome
you're
Don.
live.
He's back
And he moves.
with a looks like the same bamboo printer I've got. I think
Probably
that's the
is.
P1S, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I love my P1S. I don't have that AMS yet. I got to get that top
Yeah, I
piece
bought
there.
it as the Black Friday special last month.
Yeah, I should have, but I missed that chance. So we were just kind of jibber jabbering here, but real quick to everybody, I wanted everyone to know, hey, welcome, Walter. I wanted everyone to know that about a year and a half ago, I believe it was on Josh Hamrito Crash Course's stream, I saw it was my first exposure to Long Island CW Club. And for those who know my schedule, it's not a normal schedule, and I could never make CW Academy work because I couldn't go to the meetings Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever they were. and Long Island CW Club is much more versatile and flexible, and I'll let these guys get into it. So I only know my call sign, CQ, and 5NN, because I do occasionally get on a contest and try to make some contacts, but my reading, my copying, of course, is not good. But Michael does do CW. I think he needs to brush up a bit.
A long time ago. So, question: is it wrong to prefer a straight key?
No.
Yeah, let's.
No,
Not at all.
We already got our first question of the night.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's just start the questions right there.
And we're off.
Don can weigh in on this, but I will predict that probably 75% of all first-time CW operators who are just beginning to learn the code, they start on a straight key, and the reason is simple. That's what they're familiar with. That's what everybody sees. Whenever they look at Morse code, most of the time they see a straight key. And the other one is the expense. You can get started with a straight key for a lot less cost than any other type of key. Some of the keys run into the hundreds of dollars, so you can get started for 25 or 30 bucks. And if you don't like it, then you really haven't lost a whole lot of money. However, if you start with a $200 paddle or above, then you've invested a lot of money into something that may or may not fit what you want to do, and you may not stick with it. So that's
and Scott's absolutely correct with the cost factor. Incremental is probably a good way to go if you're not sure what you want to do and if it's going to work. If it does work, you're probably going to throw away that first key and move on. But there's a more important reason in the club's eyes as to why you should start with a straight key. And we have a strong belief, and I think it's been verified, that the use of the mechanics to actually set the timing of each dit and each da manually rather than relying on an electronic key or on a paddle, it helps reinforce the code to new operators. Now, if some learned the code 40 years ago and have come back, and we have a lot of students that have done that, they can probably progress or proceed quickly to a paddle because they kind of know it. It's just bringing off, dusting off the cobwebs. But for people like myself who had never done CW, the club really feels it's an advantage to you, not a requirement, but an advantage to go with the straight key out of the gate.
And so, yeah, I want to mention that I remember being told that the preference is that you learn with Long Island CW Club, and maybe with a lot of hams who do know CW well, is to start with a straight key. So we want to get that out there. But I don't see, to James, I don't have the picture on me, but I did tell these guys about that gigantic straight key that I saw in Tokyo. He remembers. James remembers that.
As big as the table is.
But why don't we go into just Long Island CW Club? Just tell us a little bit about the club or the group, the concept, or whatever you guys feel would be beneficial to everybody. Well,
it's been around since about 2018. It started on Long Island, hence the name, and it was started by Howard WB2UZE, and his goal was simply to get more CW operators for field day. That was it. His only goal was he wanted to develop like 5 CW operators for the next field day. And in the process, they got a lot of local people. He sent postcards, I believe, to every member of every ham radio club on Long Island to try to lure the interest. And it came, but then it really expanded in 2020 when COVID hit and everybody's locked in and they had this Zoom thing and they were able to really expand and go national. And since then, it's just been a miraculous story of development, and it's really engaging. The people, there's no real leaders of the club. There's no org structure. As a bunch of people are just willing to help pitch in and help Howard, and Scott and I just happen to be 2 of them. Scott, you want to add on to that?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, Howard never envisioned this being as big as it is, and now we have over 6,000 members in 50 states in the U.S. and gosh, 50 or so countries worldwide. I mean, you can find an LICW member basically anywhere in the world. we offer over 168 hours a week of instruction for different levels, and it's not just learning CW. It's everything from boat anchor information to how to do a contest, how to do all sorts of things. Not just learn code, but everything that comes with code. How do I operate it? How do I adjust my paddle or my straight key? How do I get into a contest with CW? What contests are there? What's the best logging program if I want to use that? So there's a whole gamut of classes that we offer on a weekly basis that will give everyone a 360-degree view of not only CW, but everything that comes along with CW, the ins and outs of everything. There's not a topic related to Morse code that we don't either have someone in the club who teaches that particular subject, or we can have a class about it. So
we have a lot of subject matter experts, retired engineers in antenna design, for instance. He runs a forum every Sunday morning. I'm always in there trying to absorb knowledge on antennas and perspective on things. So that's one of the hidden values of the club. People come to learn Morse code, but oftentimes they stay for the community, the camaraderie, and just the information that is available. I belong to physical clubs. Long Island CW is the best club of any club I've been a part of. It really is fantastic.
So question, is it true on, should you avoid using visual CW cues?
Absolutely.
Yes, yep. That is correct.
Audio only. Let your ears do the translation. The exception is, okay, now there's going to be the exception, right?
Go ahead.
For those who are hard of hearing, the club, one of the members of the club has actually developed a device called a haptic device that will allow an operator to put their hand on the unit, and it will vibrate and it will blink to the code.
Oh, wow.
So that would be the only exception that I would recommend.
Yeah.
We tell people, if you've got a chart up on your wall with the dits and the das, pull it down, throw it away, never look at it again. We want you to use your ears.
Yep.
And cool thing, going back to the straight key, and it's that you can almost identify a person by their cadence, and I've heard that forever.
Yep. Well, the term we use in CW is your fist. Okay, your method of sending, and it's called your fist. So if someone has a good fist, then they're a really good sender. They're a really good operator of Morse code, and he's exactly right. You can, if you operate and you hear someone enough, and Don and I both do a lot of POTA. We do a lot of outside activity. We're on the air a lot. We can almost, before their call sign is finished, we know just from the sound of that signal and that code, we know kind of who it is. We've keyed in on that. So that's exactly right.
Yeah, I worked another club member. This is 2 years ago, when my fist was still nascent, I'll say, and I sent KC0, and before I got done, oh no, I think I started to screw up, so I did the dit and backed up. He was immediately calling me back because he immediately recognized it was my call sign. It's like, oh wow, it really is true then. So it is. Yeah. It's a thing.
I do want to ask one thing here. Butch, who I assume is in the club and knows y'all, maybe you're being a little humble tonight there, Scott. Is there some?
Yeah, no, Butch is a liar. Okay,
Butchie.
That's
Butch
great.
Butch is one of our members and one of the best people in the world. So, hey to Butch.
Very good.
Yeah, and Cooley, I identify with that because I used to volunteer at a science museum, a children's science place, and we would do ham radio demonstrations once a month. And I got my first CW contact after doing the CW Academy, and I was so excited. Then the guy wanted to go into a full-blown QSO. I was like, thank you for the contact.
Yeah, I do have to admit that off and on I'll get some CW contacts during a contest or something. And I have had to use visual cues, the decoder on my 101D. So that's why I really need to get into this and learn it the right way. But I'm so eager to do it. It's like I want to get it, because the main reason I got extra license is because I don't like restrictions. I don't want to, well, wait, what's my frequency? And it's the same. So I speak Japanese. I travel to Japan a lot. I understand when I go to Japan. I don't understand people when I go to Spain or Brazil or these other countries. I don't like it when I don't understand someone. So when I'm on the radio and I hear the dits and the dots, it's frustrating to me that I can't understand it. So I'm hoping that these things have all culminated now, so that next year I can start really focusing on and regularly each week, get a few sessions in and start learning CW, actually learning it.
Yeah. And for those
I'm
sorry. For those of you who hear the term CW and don't really know what it means, let me just take a second to explain that. CW stands for continuous wave. Okay, the way Morse code was invented was that a continuous electrical charge was on a line, and all Morse code is the interruption of that continuous electrical path. So when you hear continuous wave, then that's the same as Morse code, and we abbreviate it CW. So you'll hear CW thrown out a lot more often than the words Morse code. So that hopefully that helps explain some of the terminology that we use.
Well, we can welcome William. He's says he's joining now, KJ5 FTT.
Well, and just to expand a little bit about, to your point, Paul, about the scheduling, we offer basically 3 tiers. We have beginners or beginners carousel BC level courses. We have intermediate courses that go beyond that with faster speeds once you've learned all your characters. And then we have the advanced classes, which are beyond my comprehension, but they're 25 words a minute or so. But the thing is, the BC1 and BC2 curriculums, and those are the foundational classes where you learn all your characters. Those are offered 7 days a week, and not always at the same time. They vary all over the map. So if you miss a class that you normally would attend on Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, you can pick up that same class Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, or on Saturday or Sunday evening. So there's a lot of variability as to the timings for those classes, but it also allows people, if they miss one, to catch up. And the reason I say different days is we run on a carousel. So the first 6 weeks of your experience would be 3 characters each week. After those 6, we go back to the first 3 characters, but by then you should be moving on to BC2. The same characters are taught in every class in a given week. The week starts on Monday. So tomorrow night, our BC1 class at 8 p.m. will have R, E, and A, I believe. Those are the 3 first characters in the rotation. But you can jump on and off anytime. You don't have to wait for REA to be your first characters. You can have UWB, which is typically the last week. And we just use those as, where we change the rotation again. But you're welcome to come in and out at any time. And then after you've done BC1 and got 18 of those characters, the next week we suggest you go to BC2, where you will learn 3 different characters and some numbers and some punctuation. And those are all taught the same each class in the week. So by the time you're done with 15 weeks, you will have 44 characters, counting pro signs, punctuation, numbers, and your alphabet. And by then, you should be really close to getting on the air. We have other bridging classes to help you get there, but that's why the flexibility really plays into someone's schedule like yours, Paul.
Yeah, so basically, it's exactly like you say, and I think that's what attracted me to it is if I missed Monday, that same class is offered later in the week. And so, okay, I could catch it Thursday or I can catch it Wednesday. So thanks. Yeah, that's something that's really important. And one of the biggest reasons I joined was the flexibility.
Yeah, understandably.
Let's get this question in real quick. He's got Techna Videos asking if there's any tips for learning to distinguish P from N.
A-N. Yeah.
A-N?
Yeah. Just hearing it often enough, that's the only advice I can get, and practice, sending it. A lot of that has to do with the spacing of a P versus an A and an N. An A and an N is a pro sign. So they're designed, the A is designed to be separated from an N with some time. Now, P is not designed because the character formation is not designed for there to be any separation much between the dits and the dots. So
yeah, and I'll expand a little bit on that because I actually teach sending classes, and what we watch for those beginners is what is being referred to here. We call that splitting the character.
Mhm.
So a P is da da dit, and we say da da dit. We code talk da da dit. When someone sends da da dit, we call that a split character because it's not one character, it's two. Pointed out.
Right.
Da da dit. A da N da dit. So we really work with the students to get them to quickly go through, and that's where the code talk helps out, because we don't allow them to say da da dit with that pause. We want them to be very smooth and just go da da dit, and we want them to send da da dit, and we want them to copy da da dit. Now, if the other person sending to them has kind of a poor fist, it might be a little challenging, and I think we all hear that on the air, right, Scott? Where somebody will be sending something and it doesn't make sense. Well, they're splitting a character in there. But as far as overcoming it, listening to the characters over and over and over, and as we like to say, and once you know the characters, you don't know them, keep at it.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed when I listen, is some of these guys doing 30 words a minute, 35 words a minute. And I only know that because I have to adjust the 101D speed to be able to copy on the screen correctly, and it still only does about 50%. But looking at it from the perspective that I'm 0.001 words per minute at this point, I'm like, I don't understand how anyone differentiates, but I guess it just becomes kind of a word memory thing, right? You're hearing words, right? Like 5NN, you hear 5NN.
It's all familiarity.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that's the biggest struggle I have in copying sometimes is the spacing. Was there a space there? Was there not?
Right.
Did he move on to the next word? And that's the struggles I have spacing. So I'm at a very, very toddler level of understanding or copying what I'm hearing. I know the letters and all that, but sometimes even that gets jumbled out of my head.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
let's go to the next question from 45.
And that is, does any class teach you to hear words? Like I hear CQ is one thing, and I hear DE mean this is as a one word. Honestly, hearing DE but struggling with D and E. So that's part of that spacing. That's something just a side note, I had a little trouble learning to go da, did it, had that little small space there. And that's something I was like, you got to differentiate, otherwise you have a totally different character.
But I think also when you get on the air and you're doing it enough, and Scott mentioned that both he and I activate a fair amount of parks on the air, you're going to understand the context. Because after you hear a CQ, and before you hear a call sign, you expect to hear a DE.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're hearing that DE, whether it's sent well or not. So the context certainly helps out with certain things. But if people have a poor fist, and that's why we also stress in our sending classes, it's our job as senders to help make the other person receive easily. And that's why, even though we like to send without Farnsworth between characters, it's not unheard of to send a little bit of space between words, a little of extra space. All of our drills in LICW are designed with the proper spacing, depending on what speed you're sending at, without any Farnsworth. But when you're actually physically on the air, it's okay to take an extra pause between words. You're actually doing the other operator a favor typically.
Right. And Paul, I'm sorry, I jumped in there. I was in the process of doing the same thing, but I skipped 45 Auto's question. International Morse is pretty much what we teach now. My understanding, American Morse, is that back in the telegraph days where you get the longer dashes and things such as that.
Yeah, American Morse is basically a whole other animal. The characters were the sound of the characters was not real easy to understand. A lot of leathering and all that was just a mess. If you've ever looked at American Morse and compare it to International Morse, you're like, this doesn't even make sense a lot of times. So we adopted International Morse back in before the 1920s, and that's kind of what we started. But yeah, American Morse is an exercise in frustration. That's exactly right.
It's like you got a dit, you got a dah, and then you got a really long dah.
Right. Yep.
I mean, there's not just dits and dahs. There's multiple things there, and I thought it was always the same way it is, but back in the Marconi days, it was not. It was
well, and you have to remember back in those days, in the very beginnings of Morse code, everybody was sending on a straight key. There was no such thing as a bug or a paddle, so everything was manual. So it was easier for someone to have a letter that had one length of a dah, and then another letter being an entirely different length of a dah. It was easier to control that with a straight key in the late 1800s than turn of the century than it is now. So International Morse code is what we use, and that's what we'll continue to use because it's the gold standard. So.
Interstellar was looking where to sign up. It looks like he found it. Sorry, Interstellar, I missed that first part, but you found it.
Yeah.
Walter.
We'll be looking at that site here pretty shortly.
Walter Capelli. Good to see you, Walter. I work with Walter. He's asking what equipment is needed to do the class.
Well, the best way is if you're already a ham, you've got all the equipment you need except the key. Because what we have a lot of students do is use their radios with the side tone on, but the break-in off. So you're not actually transmitting. And you hook up a key or a paddle and you can just go to town, and there's multiple ways you do it. You can just have your speaker near your computer microphone so it can be heard, or you can do what a lot of us do. We run through soundboard mixers and stuff like that. Now, as instructors, it's a little bit easier to do that sometimes, but it's not required. Another nice tool is called a Morse-Arino, and mine's upstairs. But the first out there, Scott's got one. Yeah. So that's one generation. I've got a different generation, and there's a brand new generation that's a lot smaller that's just come out. They're under $100. The tones are not usually pristine, as like your side tone on your radio is a pure sine wave and it's pleasant to listen to. Some of the other oscillators can be a little harsh, but as long as you have a key and a way to make a tone, that's all you need for class.
And you can even go to your first class without even anything, because we have a technique we call code talking. That it's not something long term you want to do, but if you want to just jump into a class and see what a class is about, participate, you can learn the first three characters by just code talking. For instance, the character R is da-da-dit, okay, and K is da-da-da. So you can code talk and participate in the class without having a key, for the first week or so without putting any expense into it. So that is an option.
Let's go with this question, and then we can go right into some of the keys you guys have there to show. Interstellar Starman said to go straight to a straight key. I'll add the other straight to begin. Yeah, I think that's what they're suggesting.
Yeah.
So do you guys have specific straight keys? Because I've seen some those little cheap ones off of AliExpress. I got one of those little cheap ones just because it was green. And I like green. I don't even know if it works, but it's green. Man. So if you guys want to show, let's get you. Let's bring Dawn up first. Oh, that's not Dawn. There we go.
And this is not my normal key, but I picked it up at a Hamfest recently for about $30. And it's a J38 style. It's actually by William M. Nye, which was another probably second or third largest manufacturer, and it doesn't have the navy knob that was discussed earlier, but it's got a button knob on top, and you can you have to control it. And that's why we recommend having a couple fingers on the sides and on top, and you can control it. I've got what's called a Bengali Spark, and it's my only straight key besides that one, and it's really, really nice, and it's smooth, and it's quiet, and it's a pleasure to send on. But I only send up to about 13 or 14 words a minute on a straight key. Then I'll go to a paddle, or if I'm really wild, I'll go to a bug. And Scott can tell you a little bit more, because I don't have one I can pick up and show you, because they're all kind of off camera right
now. Let me see. I lost it. Hold on. Where was it?
Well,
this
why are you looking for that, Paul?
Yeah, I got another recommendation for keys asking.
Right. But before you say that, I just want to do a quick interruption. We are now on TikTok as well. So if you want to join us, you can join us on Prep and Paul or Getting On Life, and we are streaming on
Those
TikTok.
should be working tonight, first time.
Yes, I'm watching both of them, and we got people on both of them watching right now. So, okay, back to the regularly
Yeah.
scheduled.
So this
program.
this looks
I
like a
will
nice
also-
simple key.
Okay, I will also
Or paddle.
show, this is a single lever paddle. It can also be used as a cootie. And I've got a switch here to switch it from one mode to the other. Now, people are going to say, what's a cootie? What's the difference between a cootie and paddle? When I have this in a cootie mode, this is connected either side the same. It's just like a straight key that I can
okay.
swing either way. So, but I have to control the amount of time that it's on a contact for a da or a dit. However, if I go and use my keyer and flip the switch, and then I'm in paddle mode, now it's just like a regular paddle, and I go back and forth, and the number of dits and das are controlled by the time I keep it there, but the keyer is sending the precise number of dits and das. So that's just, it's a paddle, and it looks like it's a regular paddle with two levers. It is a single lever paddle, so it can be converted.
Interesting.
So since I had that available, I wanted to show that as well.
Yeah. So for those, I think the straight key's pretty easy to understand. So for those who don't understand, what the way he just explained was basically if the paddle goes two ways. One side is the dit, one side's the da. The longer you hold the connection, the more dits and the more das.
You got it.
Correct. And then I have a Navy Flameproof, it's a different version of a straight key. This one is built in the 1930s for World War II to be used on a Navy ship. It has what we call a Navy knob, so you can hold on to it in a rocking of the ocean. Your fingers don't slip off. But these can be found occasionally online for $100 or so. They're a very popular straight key. A lot of people think that, these things are tanks. You're not going to destroy them. It's called the Flameproof because the housing does not create a spark. So if you're using it in a explosive environment or anywhere with fumes or anything like that, it's not gonna blow your ship up if you're in the Navy. So that's what that is. So
yeah, I think this is a good thing to remind you that this is a great thing to get and look for at ham fairs, at hamventions, all those. There's going to be so many options. So do your research. If you have a club with some CWers, they can, show you their keys, their paddles. But as they suggest, as I'm probably going to do, even though I've got a paddle, I've got a straight key as well. I'll probably do mine with straight key as well, because that's what these guys suggest and they know what they're doing. So I would suggest, do some research, join the club, see what others use it, and then maybe, check your local hamfest to pick up a key for probably $20-$30.
Yeah, and I will also add that the big Hamfest, the Dayton Hamfest, and the Huntsville Hamfest, Don and I are both regular attendees. Don goes to Dayton just about every year, and I go to Huntsville every year. But the Long Island CW Club, generally at the big Hamfests, has a table. There are always members there that staff that table. We have lots of information. You're welcome to come by and pick our brain and kind of find out. Even if you have a key somewhere on one of the vendor tables or one of the tables somewhere in the in the yard that people are selling, and you want somebody to give you an opinion, we'll be more than happy to walk over there with you and tell you whether it's a good deal or not. I've done that at Huntsville a couple of times, and I know Don's probably done it at Dayton, but we're always welcome to help glad to help anybody any way we can.
Yeah,
Very
and
cool.
it's funny you mentioned that, Scott, because I was part of a team that presented at Dayton for LICW, and one of the gentlemen in the audience came up to me afterwards and was talking to me about it, and I told him the different options, and he said, well, I really don't care how much I have to spend, and I want to get a nice key. Said, follow me. I walked him over to the Bagali booth. Bagali is an Italian company. And I said, Bruna, here we go. And he tried a couple. And the ironic thing is, there was a beautiful single lever paddle of the HST that I was going to probably pick up. And he bought the last one, so I didn't, which made my wife very happy.
Yeah.
But that was the type of thing. And he tried it, and he was listening, and he just said, "This feels the best." And he bought it on the spot based on what he had heard, even though it wasn't a straight key. He had arthritis, so, and that's the other thing. Straight keys are not necessarily the best choice for people that have any carpal tunnel issues, arthritis, tremors, things like that. So then a paddle might be a better choice. And again, we're very understanding of that. You can do whatever you want. The straight key is only a recommendation.
Yeah. Is it almost like asking somebody, what's the best first radio to ever buy?
Yep.
Yes.
Pretty much.
So there you go. So,
and the other thing is,
I get that's the number one question I get is, what radio do I buy when I get my ham?
And I can almost guarantee you, if you stick with CW, the first key you purchase will not be your last.
No.
Right. I got 3 of them on my desk, and I have a 4th one that's a practice key.
Yeah.
I've already added it to my list of things: a nice, better manual tuner, and now I'm probably looking for a couple keys at the ham fairs this next year. So I can already see that it's kind of like one of those addictions to where, I don't have this one, I better pick this one up.
It's like asking a POTA activator, do you only have one antenna?
Yeah.
No, I have about 9. I think I've got 16 keys of various configurations, and so I have not bought my last one, but I haven't bought one in 2 weeks, so I've been doing pretty good.
and I'm chuckling at Grant's comment because he's absolutely right. In fact, he's one of our Discord moderators, and the running joke on Discord is we're all enablers. So if somebody sees a key or knows of a key, we're always pushing to have that person buy it. So you got to stay away from that.
So the first key is free, huh?
It's cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my very first key I ever bought. It's called a Vibraplex Brass Racer, and I got this at the Irving Ham Fest a number of years ago.
Those are good keys.
I took my CW Ops course or CW Academy course with that, and that was a lot of fun. That course.
So you're getting Interstellar Starman turned down to continuous wave. Look at that.
We change lives.
Yeah, we do. Very
Walter, I don't know if you guys have other suggestions. I mean, obviously online or a local ham store, but I would just think ham fairs. You guys have other options or suggestions to find keys?
The two that come to mind for me is to go on QRZ on their
the swap meet.
Yeah, the swap meet on QRZ is a good safe place. Now eBay has more options, but we all know that eBay can come with bad transactions. Facebook Marketplace, I just stay away from that. If somebody chooses to go there, that's their business. But the other one is eham.net, and eham has a section in their classifieds with keys and keyers, and you can check in there. Usually weekly, they have quite a bit of used keys for sale. So that's where I would go first. So.
And Grant brings up a great point about asking the club members if they want to sell one, but I'd go one step further. Ask your club members if they have one that you could actually try, because there's a variation, especially on a straight key, of the knob height. And some have a very high profile, and you might want to address your arm and hand a certain way. Some are very low profile, and that might cause some other things. So if you get a chance to have someone that allow you to actually try the key, you don't have to transmit with it, but just physically try it, hammering out some dits and dots, that would go a long way, and then maybe you'll end up buying it from them.
Yeah.
I actually did that for another friend who was looking for a key, and I thought, well, let me ask the local club. And sure enough, one of the guys in the club had a nice bencher, and he sold it for $70. So something, he probably had a few of them and didn't use it anymore. So that's a great idea.
And I will say every one of my keys is for sale for the right amount of money. I'll sell everything I have for the right amount of money.
Well, and I had a friend, I was eyeballing a bencher, and he said, do me a favor, don't touch that. I got a bid on it for 30. He got it for 30, so I did him a favor, Kevin. Don't forget that, man. But this is my MFJ. What is it? 559, Paul? Is that what it was?
564.
564. 564. And I picked this up in Ardmore during my trip to Oklahoma on the channel. But this is now my favorite key. And I think my favorite key will always be my newest key.
It usually works that way.
I'm not sure. Technovideo is asking, what is the UV5R equivalent iambic key? I'm not sure what that means.
So if you want to go down that path,
keys?
if you want to go down the path, Amazon actually has some interesting options for both straight keys and paddles from a company called, I think it's POCLink, POTIKEG.
That's the green one that I bought, just mostly for fun.
Yeah, and they have one that's a tiny little one, which I can't even use. Okay, so I lied. I do have another straight key, but I never use it. But some of their paddles are actually pretty good. I've got 2 of them, and they're not bad. And I actually bought my son one of their straight keys, but it's a longer straight key, and it's weighted and it doesn't move around. And so that's not a bad place to go for like a sub $100 key. Yeah. I've got that one.
This is a POCLink paddle. Yep. And you can get them now for about $90. I think when I bought this one, it was about $70 because of their popularity. The price is going up. It's still under $100. This is an excellent paddle.
Yep.
Absolutely phenomenal.
You might find that the more you use it, you have to go back and tighten the adjustments a little bit.
That's correct.
But it's actually got a pretty smooth motion on it, and it feels pretty good to send on.
Hey, that one, Don, you got for your son, that longer straight, was it a brass one?
Jeez, I can't remember.
I wonder if it's the one I got.
I don't think it was.
I put it in the thumbnail, the one I got. Let me, I can pull it up.
They also have quite a few that look very similar, but different colors, different finishes, etc.
So, Don, have you printed a key?
I have not printed a key. I've only had the printer a few weeks. I printed covers for radios. I printed all sorts of stuff, but I haven't printed a key yet.
I imagine you're going to have your own design coming up here pretty soon.
No, not quite.
So that's the straight key I got.
Those are great keys, Paul, from what I understand.
Yeah, I don't. That's not the one I bought him, but that looks like a very interesting key as well.
It's got the navy knob.
It's got the knob. It's very heavy. It does not move, and they didn't have this when I bought it. I would have got the green one, but I got this brass one. So, $100. That's pushing it. You might find a better one than POCLink than this, but I'll be honest, it's a very heavy. It's a very heavy key, and now I know why that knob is the way it is. So good to know.
And it's half the price of a Begali's.
Yeah.
One of the cheaper keys too.
Let's see, because we want to get into the website and the practice. If I'm missing anything here. Anything else you guys think of that you want to share?
I will also throw out that Mike and Becky, Ham Radio Duo, they manufacture. They have a great straight key, 3D printed straight key option that's very inexpensive. If I'm going to give POCLink a push, I'll give Mike and Becky a push too. But they have a great straight key available. So
it's about $50 or $60. Yeah. And actually, I bought one of them because I wanted to support them. So I bought one of them, and I've got that in my POTA bag just in case.
Is it the 3D printed one?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe this one right here. Is this it?
That's it. Yeah, that's a great straight key.
There you go.
Yeah.
Lightweight and easy because they do a lot of POTA. So
right.
Okay, very good. So that's Ham Radio Duo. That's their website.
Mm-hmm.
And those of you who don't know Mike and Becky, they're a great couple. They're awesome ham radio enthusiasts, and they're not going to put something out there that's not top quality. They don't do that. So they're stand-up folks.
Yeah, I met them at Huntsville. So check them out as well. Ham Radio Duo. I'm all for promoting any product that people like. I'm not partial to any one thing. So.
And for those of you who don't know, POCLink spelled backward is geek it up. So that's where the name came from. Geek
Oh
it
my
up.
gosh, I didn't even know that.
Pick it up.
Don, hold on, because I can't pull the link off of where I'm at, so I got to grab it here. Don in the chat. I mean,
I'm running a little bit behind on.
Sorry, guys, I'm pulling up this. I got to pull up this link. Whoops, I'm on Michael's. If you want to pull that page up, we can maybe get into the practice page on the site.
Yeah, I got the practice player up, and I think hey, you can see it. Okay.
There you go. Now, are we in the wrong spot,
Yeah.
or should we be on the right, or is at the base where we are okay?
No, that'll be okay because I can scroll here and move things around.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
as needed.
I mean, we have this option.
Yeah, that
too.
might be a little bit better. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this is
And,
our
we'll
Morse
take it off the
practice
chat.
page, and it's a public site. It's on GitHub, and the link is available on the LICW club page. So we have a lot of information that we put out for free for everybody, for non-members. But basically, this is where the BC1 and BC2 folks tend to live. And I've got instructor called up for a specific reason, and we'll go through a couple things. But say you started this week, and your letters would be REA for the week. The instructor would choose instructor class BC1, letter group REA, and then they would start with the very first letter, which is R. The reason I chose instructor is you get to isolate each character. If I chose student, you wouldn't get this, so that's why I did it. The default settings are there at 12/8. Now you might say, what's 12/8? Character speed is the rate at which the character itself is sent. So if I send a complete character and it's timed right, it'll be in effect at 12 words a minute. However, when you start adding characters, we have this thing called effective speed. And that's your Farnsworth gap that can be created. So we do allow a little bit of Farnsworth for the BC1 folks to make it a little bit easier to start copying more than one character at a time. But what I want to show you is once you do this, we will have a student, we'll say, okay, for the next 30 seconds, every time you hear this tone, just put a dot on your paper. So I would play it like this.
Hopefully we'll get audio.
Can you not hear it?
Yeah, they're getting pumping audio through these StreamYard and Restream studios. Web-based is not fun.
Okay.
It's a pain.
Then I won't worry about it. But anyways, it'll play the tone of the R, and we just have you put a dit down, or a dot on your paper. Then, after 30 seconds, we'll stop and say, okay, that's the letter R, and we'll send it on our key. And now we're going to have you do it again for a minute. Every time you hear did, write the letter R and say the letter R. So that way you're making the connection between the sound did. You're saying it verbally, which reinforces it, and the mechanical effort of writing it adds another component of reinforcement. So we will do that with each character of that week, R, E, and A. And then we'll go and do some different drills. We'll do familiarity where it'll play the characters and hope that you can recognize the difference between dit, and da. Those are the three characters. And then you can also get down into some other more challenging things. There's a whole bunch of parameters you can change on this. I'm not going to get into the inside baseball. It's not worth it. Then in BC2, we'll do the remaining letter groups. But here, we also will always carry over each week, in addition to the three characters of the week, we'll keep the original BC1 characters. So a lot of students, after they go through BC1 one time, they're going to be a little bit hesitant and say, oh, geez, I don't know. I don't think I'm ready for BC2. And every instructor will recommend very strongly keep going, because you're going to be exposed to those BC1 characters every week, in addition to the three new characters of each week. So you're going to get continually drilled. And there's one other thing up here you might have noticed. Now my effective speed has changed. So BC1, it was at 8, but BC2, we go to 10. So we're tightening up the gap between characters. And that really is another thing that students have to overcome, is that gap. Because eventually what we want you to do is get to 12/12, where there's no Farnsworth gap, there's no extra spacing, and you're just hearing a constant flow of characters. I'm just going to go on a little bit more, and we don't use the practice player for beyond intermediate 1. By the way, BC3, really that is our get on the air class. So after you've learned your characters, we show you the various protocols, including POTA and SOTA, to help you get on the air. But once you've been on the air, typically students go to intermediate 1. We have a whole bunch of different things we do in class. We don't rely on the practice player, but if we did, you'd see that our speeds would probably be faster, and it's supposed to be 16 and it's not. There we go.
There you go.
Intermediate 3 is at 16. Advanced 1 is at 25, etc. But we don't use the practice player for beyond the BC3 level. Typically, it's a lot more freeform in classes. Both Scott and I teach intermediate 2, and Scott also teaches the advanced 1 classes. So that's just kind of a quick idea of this practice player. And as you can see, you can get words here. So those aren't words, QSO words. There we go.
There you go.
And here you're going to see things like your AR and your BT, which are your pro signs, help guide you where you are in a QSO. The typical 59973 age, again, AGN, DE's got DE's right there. See you later, etc. And you can drill yourself on hearing these and getting used to the sound, because a significant amount of CW is just recognizing familiar things. We all know CQ. You know, you can hear da 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 da. That's fine. You don't even think of it as C followed by Q. You just know it's CQ. You'll get that way with 7.3. You'll get that way with 5NN. So these are all there for you to drill should you choose to, and I recommend you do. And that's the other thing. We have one other feature in the BCs where you can do a sending practice. And the nice thing about sending practice, where is my sending practice? It's way down here somewhere, is it will actually send you characters, and it'll give you a little bit extra space for you to echo it back. So it'll play da 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 da, and you're expected to send da 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 just in cadence. And this helped me early on. Before we even used this as a tool, I stumbled into it, realized it was there, and that was how I learned to send my characters, is by using that feature.
And then your lessons are, I can't remember if the email had like a Zoom login and something, right? Is it Zoom?
Yeah, so we have 5 Zoom classrooms, and there's a couple times a week they're all filled, but not typically. And oh, by the way, those Zoom classrooms, if there's not a class going on, students are welcome to go in and join with other students in practice, which is a great, great benefit. But it's basically you'll get both the meeting code and the password for that meeting, but you will also get a hot link in the daily schedule. We don't make those public because obviously that's what people are paying for. But yeah, that's how we conduct all our classes, is via Zoom. Nice.
And along this line of this type of practice page, so again, you know, I'm in the air on a plane. Is there a best app you would suggest, or something that would be? I mean, I've got one. I forget what it's called, but is there an app that would be useful?
This, and I will confess, I've never done this. You can actually download this into a web browser.
Oh, really? Okay.
On your computer and take it with you.
Okay. All right. That's great.
Or as far as apps go, there's one called Head Copy that one of our members has developed.
Okay.
There's Morse Mania. There's
that's the one I have.
Scott, help me. What are some of the other ones? I don't use them that many.
For call sign practice only, and this is only specific to call signs, RUFZ XP, RUFZ XP is a website. You can use Morse Code Ninja is a real popular site that gives a variety of different letter recognition, word recognition.
That's fantastic.
So Morse Code Ninja is a very popular one. You know, you can do a Google search, and there's all kinds of little programs out there to help you and apps. I've got several on my phone. I've got Ham Morse. And Morse Mania is a good one for just letter recognition. So
I like Morse Mania.
Yeah, and
it was a new ham that showed me that one.
Head copy was the other one. I haven't seen that one.
right.
There's
There's also
one.
a newer feature in the last several months. We've incorporated a principle, and we've redesigned all of our curriculum on a term called overlearn. And the intent is to get exposed to the characters, even just the alphabet, over and over and over again at very high speeds. We call it flow rate 1. You can also do flow rate 2, which is 31 words a minute. And the point is, we just want, in fact, the developer of the concept has basically said, do it till it hurts. So you can't think, you can't worry about copying it, and you're just hearing things. And over time, and it's an 8-week course, if you choose to get into it probably after you've completed intermediate 1, or maybe you're deep into intermediate 1, preferably you've been on the air, so you've got some experience. But there's a lot of tools in here that we can now incorporate to help you relearn and overlearn the code. So for instance, one of them, binomials. So aches and pains, all or nothing, by and by. So it'll play these, and typically it'll play it 3 times. So it'll repeat twice. So 3 times it'll play. And you know that the connector is either going to be and or. And a lot of times, you'll hear black when you're probably going to say, well, it's going to be white, black and white, because that's a typical binomial. And sure enough, then you're almost more in confirmation mode, where you're listening for what these characters are. Now, if it's black and blue, you're going to have to pivot and quickly adapt. But the point is, you're going to recognize whether it starts with a W or a B pretty quickly. So just a lot of tools we've added in that really aren't part of a formal class, but they're excellent for at-home instruction, homework, things like that.
All right, we got a few more in the chat there, folks. Morse Walker and Morsel.fun.
Oh, Morsel's a good daily drill.
Yeah, Morsel's a fun little daily thing that a lot of us do just to see how good. There's no competition whatsoever among.
Not at all.
But we don't.
And it's funny because there's 2 modes. You can, well, there's also a practice mode, but the normal mode, it will give you some visual cues, so you'll hear the sound, and there'll be a little cursor underneath each character as it's played, so you know where it is. And there's a little bit of extra Farnsworth in there. If you go to hard mode, you don't have those cues. You're just relying on what characters did I hear and how do they go together. It's kind of almost like speed reading. Is it just kind of hope that some of the words come together? Oh yeah, you don't have to send it, but if you copy it wrong, because you type in the characters that you're thinking are in the appropriate place, and if you're wrong, it'll tell you which ones are right and which ones are wrong, just like Wordle.
Howdy, Justin.
Very cool. There's one I wanted to show real quick. I'll just flip over to this. This is the one Don uses. Don in the chat, not Don in the stream. And it's also an oscillator. So this looks like an interesting one. Little speaker under here, I guess.
I've not seen that one.
Yeah,
I've seen it. I don't know. I would be concerned about the quality of the oscillator.
Yeah.
In it. In fact, I think that one, the gray one.
Oh yeah, this one doesn't have it.
I think that's the one I bought my son. Now that I think about it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're really coming out with a lot of different styles. This POCLink.
They are, and that's one thing. If you're going to listen to code all day long, and you've got a harsh oscillator, God bless you. You're gonna need.
You don't want to hear it on this little half-watt speaker.
No.
All right, let's go back to that. That's very cool. Yeah, there's so much to this. It's almost overwhelming, but I guess you just start with BC1, right?
You just start with BC1. Don't try to drink from the fire hose.
Yeah.
Drink from the garden hose and just start out nice and gentle. And what'll happen is you'll be exposed to these. Some of these drills are for the instructor to show you things, but then some of them are ones that you can practice at home, like groups of 5. After you've been in it for a while, you'll be able to actually do that, and then you're going to be sent random groups of the characters that you've selected. And the idea is to write them down and then see how you do. And it's just more for gauging your progress.
Yeah. So on average, or in general, for someone to get to say 15 words a minute, and they're making 2 lessons a week, in general, about how long does it usually take somebody with this? Or do you even have that gauge?
We really don't have to. We have a gauge to get on the air. That's our goal. Our mantra is to get on the air.
All right.
And that's, if it's 12 words a minute, if it's 10 words a minute, we don't care. We want you to get on the air because, as we like to say, you don't get good to get on the air. You get on the air to get good. And that goes back to the novice days where 5 words a minute got you on the air. You better be better by the time that year comes up because you lose your license. So that's our belief. And, typically in 3 to 4 months, probably 4 months, is average for people to get on the air. Key fright is real. We have a lot of students. I had one of my former students in a forum today, and he was, really hesitant, and I was kind of busting on him a little bit in a good-natured way. And so he tried. He actually got on the RBN and sent, his call sign and wanted to see where he could go. But it wasn't really working out. He's got a compromised antenna situation. So we really, really encourage folks to get on the air, and that's how you're going to get better.
It kind of reminds me of ham licensing in general. It took me 6 months to push the PTT button. So, you get that little bit of fright, like, I don't want to do it wrong.
Right.
So, yeah, I totally understand that.
Well,
and I never had key fright.
The real magic happens with CW when you get on the air. That's when everything really starts to come together. You really understand, what does a pro sign BK really mean, and that sort of thing. So that's where I think the real magic of CW is on the air. And it's like going to football practice or baseball practice. You want to go and you want to actually play in a game at some point, right?
Exactly.
So we always go to practice. But if you're never going to play in a game, it's not as much fun to go to practice every day. So that's.
And in fact, that's probably the single biggest thing that holds students back, is that, first of all, they don't practice well enough. They don't. Scott and I joke a lot. It's butt in the seat. That's what makes you capable and gets you to where you have the confidence to get on the air. But then you got to get on the air. So you can have a Monday morning quarterback who talks a great game. They're never on the air. Okay, well, that's their choice, but you're not getting everything out of it that you really could. Go ahead, Scott.
No, go ahead, Don. No, go ahead.
The other point I was going to make is one of the things I think most instructors in LICW will advocate for those students who may be a little hesitant. We first tell them, go hunt POTA. You got a website, it tells you the frequency, it tells you the call sign. Go there. If you can hear them, just listen. Just listen to them to work callers. Can you get used to their speed? Now, the other thing is, know your call sign at various speeds up to about 30 words a minute. Because when you send your call sign, they may come back faster than you're used to. So that's the second point. The third point is, then start calling CQ. Go to a park or in general, but start with POTA because it's a simple exchange. And it's very comfortable, and you can almost predict what's coming, and there's really no pressure. So those are some of the things we use to encourage students to get on the air. Did I forget anything, Scott?
I want to thank Brooks real quick. That's big, Brooks. Thanks, man. You're always good supporting the channel. I appreciate all the support, you guys, and Sean for becoming a Prep Ham Piglet. In 12 months of Prep Ham Piglet, you get a free T-shirt. I've added that. I forgot to mention that earlier. Razorback, you get a free T-shirt at 3 months, and Hog, you get a free shirt at 6 months. But I've added, and it will be retroactive for those who are almost 10, 11 months now. I will get you a shirt at 12 months of being a Prep Ham Piglet.
Plus, we had a pre-stream super chat from Don for $30.
Yeah, thank you, Don. I thanked him in chat, but I should have mentioned it by voice. I wanted to show you guys something. This is someone, and I'm actually kind of curious if you guys will know him or not. Maybe he joined you guys. Maybe he learned it on his own. I don't know. But I came across this Connor channel yesterday or the day before. This popped up, and his YouTube channel is Connor, and then KF8CNK in parentheses. And it just popped up, and it said, probably because I was doing all my CW search and research for our stream tonight. But this is a kid that he got after it. This is his first CW Parks on the Air activation. So you want to see some of it. You can tell he's a little nervous, but he doesn't let it stop him. And it was so cool to watch. He said, like I just said, he said multiple times, and he keeps catching himself. Why am I saying But he's thinking, right? He's trying to catch the words and the letters. So if you get a chance, I don't know him. I just came across he's a really cool channel that he's showing that this is how you do it. You get out and you just do it. So you guys are basically saying about 4 months approximately is kind of the goal-ish, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I mean, that's 16 weeks, and that's 15 weeks of classes. Maybe you started BC3 earlier in BC2, because they don't have to be nose to tail. You can start BC3 while you know most of your characters. And, start practicing to get on the air. Find a code buddy. It's the other thing we recommend.
There you go.
Find a code buddy that's in your classes you've gained some familiarity with, and you can do it in Zoom. It doesn't have to be on the air. Just start, working that and exchange things and get used to making mistakes so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, that's a great question Walter's got. If you've learned looking at the dits and dots, how do you unlearn that? That's the golden. If you can get the answer to that, I will buy it from you for $10, and I can sell that idea for $1 million, because that's the golden question that we all have.
It really is.
There's a lot of us that have learned the wrong way to do Morse code, and trying to relearn it by sound is a challenge. So if you have never touched a key before and know nothing about CW, I beg you, if I could give any point, learn the code by sound and not by bits and dollars. It will save you so much grief and time later on. It's already, CW is already a somewhat difficult to learn and wrap your head around. But if you learn by just the dits and dots, you're really handicapping yourself, and you're going to have to overcome that at some point. So why not just start off on the right foot to begin with? So that's my advice.
Michael, did I miss, did this come up from Don? Whoops. He's asking if you still have the game that was weekly. Did we talk about that or no? Where you encourage people to get on and make a QSO. Is that me, or is that to Don and Scott?
I'm not familiar with that, if he's asking me.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Don. Can you clarify that here in the chat, and we'll try to...
I will say we have something called the Long Island CW Challenge, and it goes basically quarterly, but that's where we, as members, get on and try. We call CQ LICW, and see if other members come back, and if they do, we exchange our call, the RST, the name, the state, and our LICW numbers. So you got a copy. We have a logger that we use that was custom built by one of our members, and that's kind of a fun thing, and we encourage students to get on. In fact, we have a class for that on Saturdays. If you've never done that, we got 4 instructors typically in there. So that's the only thing I can think of about a weekly QSO. Now, we got one of our instructors. She's also the president of SKCC, Kathy, W4CMG. And she says, go out and make your daily QSO. And if you miss one, you got to make 5 the next day. So that's Kathy's running joke.
Yeah, her baby vitamin.
Well, I don't want to keep you guys too much later. Sometimes we go a little later than we planned. So let's get any more questions as we wind down here. And Don, sounds like we got a couple of people to join, and then Interstellar Starman, I guess he bought that key that you mentioned, N5SKT, Don, in the chat. I guess the one we pulled up there, maybe it was with the oscillator. Scott, Don, you guys have anything else that you'd like to mention or bring up? Or
I do want to add, I think I saw one question about joining LICW. You do have to be a member of LICW to get access to our Zoom rooms, to our classes, and that sort of thing. That we have a monthly fee, and if you want to join lifetime membership, I can't remember the number, but it's not too terribly expensive.
Somebody posted 90.
It's an annual fee.
An annual.
It's not monthly. It's annual. It's $30 a year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
And
think
you
it's
can join
70 for 3 maybe, and 90 for lifetime.
Yeah. I'm a lifetime member. I paid it, and I don't remember
Me
how much
too.
it was. But
I waited so long to learn CW. I figured for $90, if this works, it's worth every penny and then some.
so
Yeah, that's what I did after Josh's stream a year and a half ago. I just said it's worth it, $90. And you know, if I had paid for the year or whatever, I would have wasted that because I haven't even used it in the first year and a half. This way, you know, I'm still a member, and I would suggest 90. If you can afford it, you know, you can't afford it, of course, you know, don't do that. But 90 is the way to go. I like that kind of thing, to where I never have to pay again, kind of a thing. And then if I want to support, you know, you can always throw some more support down the line.
Yeah, we also have access to other, you know, social media things, and once you become a member, you'll get access to those too. And it's just LICW is not just a club; it's really an organization, a family of like-minded enthusiasts from whatever level. And I think you'll find a lot of fellowship. There's not any question that I've ever asked. It's like I'm a member of so many groups pages. It's just like getting on groups. You ask a question, you get 500 answers. But there's not any CW question that I've ever had that I haven't gotten an answer to from a member. So it's great.
Yeah, Don,
LICW isn't a club; it's a lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was mentioned that it is an actual club. So I think someone asked if they do activities and stuff as well. So
yeah, we have a club call sign, W2LCW, and occasionally we'll use that. I think Howard and the folks on Long Island will use it when they get together in a physical face-to-face. I met one of our other instructors who lives about 40 miles from me. He was down my way yesterday, so I ran down and met him at a park. So yeah, it's a really great community, and I probably met 50 people at Dayton in the last 2 years. It's amazing.
Well, I'll be meeting you guys next year. CW wasn't quite in my head the way it should have been, but now it is. So I'll be stopping by for sure.
Well, I'm at Huntsville every year at the LICW table. So if any of you ever go to Huntsville, look me up. I'm at the LICW table, and I will be glad to talk to you. If you're not a member, we'll talk you into becoming a member, and you can pick our brain. So we'll be glad to see any of you.
Well, I'm not seeing any more questions, but I'm seeing a lot of support for LICW and lifetime membership. So that's what I would suggest as well. Of course, pay what you can afford according to your budget, but I don't think this is something that you will regret. If CW is what you want to get, this is, in my opinion, the most flexible. And as you all can see, just by seeing Don and Scott here tonight, kind of this family-friendly community group or club, I guess we could say, that their goal is to help you, get on the air. So I don't think it gets much better than that. So,
Don had a quick question. Do you let club members activate POTA and visit the club call?
Probably selectively. I know that when the club gets together on Long Island, they will use the club call. I know that in certain cases, other members outside of Long Island can use the club call. So I think it's just one of those things where if you reach out to Howard or one of the other kind of more senior folks in the club and explain what you want to do for how long, we just want to make sure nobody else is doing it, because one of our members is assigned the club call each quarter for the LICW challenge. So it'd just be a matter of making sure they're not going to be on the air using that call at the time you're going to activate. But I'm sure it's been I'm sure it's been done before.
Okay, well, let me roll some credits, because we've got some new members. Oh, I don't want to have my ugly mug in there covering up all the supporters. We got a lot of new members. We had some great gifted memberships last week. Guys, it's amazing. Thank you all for the support. It keeps me going and actually encourages me to do more and more. So I really appreciate Scott and Don for coming on tonight, taking out the time to do this for us. And again, the support is much appreciated. I've added here again 3-month shirt for Razorbacks, 6 months for Hogs, and retroactively 12 months. I'll be sending out T-shirts with your call sign and the logos. So thanks again. Let me get back to a normal screen here, and we'll say 73. You guys can say 73 in the dits and dots or however you want, but I'll play an outro, and if you guys need to get going, go ahead and log out. If not, we'll see you after the outro.
All right.
Okay. Well,
Thanks
all
for
I can
joining
say
us.
is thank you for having us on. I've had a blast. I bet Scott has.
Yes.
Pleasure meeting you guys. And, we're both good on QRZ. If you want to shoot us an email and ask questions, we're available typically.
Yep.
There you go, guys.
Yeah.
Grab their call signs there. Hit them up on QRZ or join the club and
That'd
get
be
into
better.
the community. There you go.
All right.
I appreciate those on TikTok. There you go.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks,
Appreciate
everybody.
those on TikTok that joined us as well. But
7-3.
7-3, y'all. Bye.
7-3. Have a good night.
See ya.